Alright, take 3. Welcome to a My Thoughts video. Now, My Thoughts are videos where I talk about movies, a TV show, maybe music, or a video game, and I just give impromptu thoughts on it. I talk about the good and the bad. So this episode, we're going to be focusing on the Star Wars movie, The Force Awakens. Star Wars The Force Awakens is the 7th movie in the Star Wars series. It's a movie where they have to find Luke Skywalker. It takes no sort of risks at all, and is a rehash of episode 4 and 5. So what did I think of The Force Awakens? It was, it has good moments, and it has bad. Well, let's talk about the good here. It's not much, but I mean, the not much really pulled weight here. Unusual. The acting, first and foremost, is fantastic. It's what carries this movie. I mean, that carries most movies, but with this and my complaints about it, it's good from everyone, especially Daisy Ridley, who I don't think did anything before this, and I'm not sure why not. She's absolutely fantastic. Everyone else does a good job. Harrison Ford didn't phone it in. It was actually a miracle. I mean, he hasn't done anything like that since, I don't know, Hollywood Homicide was the first one. I remembered him really phoning everything in and acting like Sleepy Grandpa. So, yeah. Nextly, the use of practical effects was really... It was a breath of fresh air because people don't really do that anymore. Look at those stupid Hobbit movies that came out a few years ago. Those are a prime example of garbage and the overuse of CGI. And John Williams' score is pretty good. And I just want to stress that I really, really like the acting in this movie. Because it's not coming across to me right now, but I really, really like the acting. The other stuff that I mentioned that was good is pretty good. So let's get into the bad. This story takes no risks at all. This would be the perfect time to do something different. But no, they don't. Instead, it's this big old nostalgia fest, fast-paced. It's like blast processing of plot, which literally they have to use throwaway lines to get things to tie together in any sort of shape or form. That's just lazy writing at its finest, J.J. Abrams. Nextly, the lack of some characters' lack of being in the plot. Now, Poe Dameron, I wanted more Poe in there. He was a good character. He suddenly, though, because they had to cut out like 20 minutes of the movie because it was too fucking long, I guess, he suddenly, even though he disappeared on not Tatooine called Jakku, he's suddenly back with the Resistance on I don't know what planet that looks kind of like a combination of Yavin 4 and Naboo, but isn't. So, that was, but then we get to Captain Phasma, or Captain Buy My Toy. Captain Phasma is a character who's supposed to be the first female villain when Zam Wesell was in Attack of the Clones. She was the bounty hunter who was the changeling, but no one likes to remember her. I find that insulting myself, but... Anyway, so Captain Phasma is literally set in the plot, not just because they wanted you to buy her toy, but they want a stormtrooper that wasn't like a white stormtrooper. So throw down the garbage chute near the end of the movie. And lastly, we get to Kylo Ren. Now, I don't mind Kylo Ren. I don't mind his character being a whiny crybaby. I do mind that they didn't try anything new with this character. He looks like Darth Revan from Knights of the Old Republic. He acts like Jason Solo from Legacy of the Force, but more of a crybaby this time. And more of an absolute throwing a temper tantrum. But he has Ben Skywalker's name. That's lazy writing right there. Fuck you, JJ. Fuck you. That's fucking lazy. But then we can transfer to goofy moments. There's a lot of goofiness in this movie, and I'm not talking Jar Jar Binks goofy, but I'm talking scenes where they stop the music so you can laugh. I mean, you might as well throw in a laugh track in there. For instance, the worst scene of this is there's a scene where Kylo Ren's throwing another temper tantrum. He turns on his lightsaber and he's beating up his torture chamber with his lightsaber. These two stormtroopers walk up, they got the guns, they're walking up, and then they look at each other. They stop in their tracks, they look at each other, and they walk away. That's the joke, guys. Isn't that fucking funny? No, it's not that funny. It's just dumb. We don't need that in a Star Wars movie. And granted, the original trilogy had lighthearted moments, but this movie was touted out to be like a dark war movie, and it isn't at all. I mean, we can talk about the not Death Star, the Halo. I don't even know what it was called. That sucks a sun dead, I guess. I don't know. And then blows up the whole New Republic. Which gets me to this question of things aren't really explained that really should have been. So the original trilogy got it down with the politics. There's one boardroom meeting in episode 4 where these Imperial officers are talking about what's happened to the Galactic Senate and how it's been disbanded. It's all you needed in the whole trilogy. The prequels had too much Senate talk and all the politics and crap. I mean, that's what the focus point of that whole trilogy was about, essentially. But now we have the exact opposite, too little. So we got the First Order, which I guess is the Imperial Revenant. I don't even know. I thought they were in power at first. And then there's the Resistance. Well, they're obviously not in power because their name's the Resistance. That doesn't tote as a powerful name. But then there's the New Republic. And I'm like, oh, it's the Resistance, the remains of the New Republic? No, the New Republic exists. Well, now it doesn't. It got blown up. Spoilers. But this movie's been out for 4 weeks, so fuck you. So I guess I don't know. Is it just like there's no galactic power? I don't know what's going on. It's bad writing at its finest. And we get the whole recycled episode 4 plot line, gotta blow up the super weapon, but we can't have that because Rey has to have a lightsaber battle with Kylo Ren, which is like the worst lightsaber battle in the history of lightsaber battles. I mean, episode 4 where an old man and a guy who couldn't see in his helmet or like swinging swords awkwardly at each other was better than that. I mean, well, let's get into spoilers right now again. So Kylo Ren kills Han Solo on the bridge. And then Matt Wilkins and I called this like right before it was going to happen, like long before this. Han Solo was going to die because Harrison Ford hates playing Han Solo. That's been proven numerous times. But the whole he gets killed on a bridge. It's supposed to be this cinematic moment. And I was like, okay. Sleepy Grandpa died, who wasn't so sleepy anymore. But Kylo Ren gets shot by Chewbacca and he's bleeding and he got gut shot. Uh-oh. I would care, but I don't. And then Finn grabs the lightsaber because Kylo Ren throws Rey into a tree. And then they have a lightsaber battle that was awkwardly choreographed. And then Finn gets paralyzed. I thought he died. And then he wasn't dead because he's in a coma chair later. But then Rey all of a sudden is now a Jedi Master and can now control the Force, kind of. And so she starts swinging a lightsaber awkwardly, too. And then Rey and Kylo Ren are fighting in the snow, and it's like, So, meanwhile that's happening, this Poe Dameron, whose character, he's got good charisma, and that's about it, and good acting, so I actually kind of like him, which usually I wouldn't if the acting was terrible. But I actually like him, is blowing up the Halo while they're fighting in the snow, and it's a mess. The end of this movie is a mess. And then I'm like, okay, it's done now. You know, we got The not Death Star blew up. What's next? And then all of a sudden the movie continues, and Rey finds Luke Skywalker in New Zealand, I guess. And she holds out a lightsaber, and Luke looks at her like, "Who the fuck are you? And where's my hand?" And mind you, Mark Hamill says nothing in this movie. I wonder how much they paid him. I'm serious. I really want to know how much they paid him for that. But yeah, that's The Force Awakens for you in a nutshell. Now we get to the death note of this movie, which is the CGI. I get having CGI in films when you can't use anything else. There's certain shots in this movie, because they won't use models anymore, that you have to use CGI. I got that. I didn't mind it so much. What I did mind was the motion capture that was hideous. Supreme Leader Snoke, who looks like my bowel movement last night if I bleached it white, looked terrible. He looked like a cartoon piece of shit. But who looked worse was this character Maz, who's like this little orange alien that has really weird glasses on, who just spouts out exposition and gets the plot going. She's literally the worst character ever. She took me out of the movie. I was like done with the movie at that point, and I was halfway through. And I was like, what the shit is that? It looked as bad as Jar Jar does. She looked hideous. Took me out of the movie completely. I could not suspend my disbelief, because that looked like garbage. Just like, I could have drawn something in piss and it would look better, because at least it was real. You know? But anyway, so what do I give this Force Awakens? 3 out of 5 stars. It's worth a rent at Redbox. Yeah. Go check it out. I'm going to be reading the book. Hopefully the book's better than the movie. I don't know. Join me next time as I review the Quentin Tarantino's 8th movie, The Hateful Eight. Later, guys.